Hello and welcome to part 2 of 1 year in my life, which 2020, the year of COVID-19. Up until the 8th of March I was in Germany, and on the 8th of March I crossed the border into Poland. Now on that day the border was still functioning normally. That's to say, there was no border control, no nothing, just drove through. But within a few days, because of the closing of the borders, there were huge traffic jams there, which were shown on various media outlets, including, as I said earlier, on the front page of the Financial Times. As always, I went to my favourite shopping centre, and in Zgorzelec, so just outside Zgorzelec, Wrocław, and from there I went to a campsite, and the campsite was called Camp for You. Camp for You is to the south east of Wrocław, and for 8th of March they were having a special do, because it is Ladies' Day, or International Women's Day, and they had an event there for lady campers or something along those lines. Of course, most people turned up were couples, but anyway, I went there and I ended up spending the entire period of COVID-19, the lockdown, the initial lockdown I should say, at Camp for You. I ended up spending 6 weeks there, and so this for me it was a nice place to be. I mean, it was out in the countryside, so I wasn't exactly locked down, because I could actually go for walks, and I published a lot of material whilst I was there. Hello and welcome from just outside Camp for You. It's the campsite where I'm staying at the moment, and this is where I'm spending the period of lockdown isolation, if you like. It's not really isolation, because we're all allowed to go to the shops, and that's what I'm doing at present. Anyway, so you can see behind me, we've got down there the Camp for You campsite in the forest, which is quite good as well. It means I can get out and actually have a walk around. And if I take the rest of the campsite as being part of my garden, so to speak, that is plenty of place for me to get some exercise. So this for me was quite good. I had the internet. I was quite happy to being there, and I have in the past published my campsite of the year, and as it happens, this is the only proper campsite I have been on all year. I stayed in a couple of airs, or stellplats, but as far as campsite with full facilities, this was it. This was the only one I stayed at, and for part of this time I was the only person with a van actually there, and that's to be understood because nobody was able to travel. Anyway, it's a really nice campsite. It's new. The facilities are really clean, well, as you'd expect from a new campsite, and the location as well. Okay, I wasn't able to go to Wrocław because of the lockdown, but it's about 10 kilometers from the outside of Wrocław. You could get a bicycle if you wanted to, or there's a train out the back, but for reasons, as I've said, I wasn't able to do anything about it. Right, so as soon as the lockdown eased up a bit, I travelled across Poland, and I went to a place called Nałęczów. The reason I went there was because of work, and the company I'm involved in, and we were due to start work in Nałęczów. Now this is nothing, the location wasn't decided by me, it just so happened that way, and I was really looking quite forward to this, because Nałęczów is a spa town. There's only about 3,000 people live there, but it's well known for its spa. It's spa water. It's got a very nice spa park. I did 1 or 2 videos when I was in there. It's close to Lublin. Now, Lublin is one of my favourite towns, cities anywhere, and it's also between Lublin and another place called Kazimierz Dolny. Kazimierz Dolny is on the Vistula River. It is quite an incredible place to actually see. The architecture, and is I have to say is one of the most attractive places in Poland. And not only that, the nature as well, because Poland as a general rule is pretty flat, but here you've got these very unusual deep gullies, and so it's great for getting out walking. And I really like it. I've been to Kazimierz Dolny I don't know how many times. A friend of mine has a house there. I used to go and stay with him, and so for me, being in Nałęczów was absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. Things weren't quite ready for me, and after a period of 7 weeks that I stayed in Nałęczów, I actually moved on. I then did what it was my summer tour of Poland, and I think actually that this is possibly a very good place to stop, because when I start talking about the tour, then it's more difficult to make breaks. Anyway, that I shall talk about in part